Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Ground Up Podcast, coming to you from the NFM Podcast Studio and the Penthouse here in Brentwood, Tennessee. We are very excited to be back with you. We would like to thank our title sponsor, Level Wellness. We appreciate your support, and I am one of your hosts. I am Terry Bargy, and I'm here today with my good buddy and business partner. What's your name?
Roy Mangrum.
There it is. Roy, how you doing, buddy?
Well, I'm good.
Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, I'm good.
I had to think about that.
Yes.
We're both on the, I think I talked about this last time, so I won't beat a dead horse, but we're on we're a couple days out from our actual vacation, still coming off the expo. So we are giddy, slap happy, all kinds of having fun over here. So how was your week?
It's been busy. Busy. Yeah, we've been really busy, which is great. So now what's fun about busy is you find the holes. And so we're like, we need to hire someone to do this. So got an interview tomorrow morning.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, hopefully it works out.
Yeah, what hole are you trying to fill? Like what?
So it's going to be like a CSR type deal. They're also going to do all the custom organizations. So like, for example, this week I think we've gotten in like 64 boxes of blanks. So if a box holds roughly 60 shirts,
It's a lot of blanks.
60 times 64 is a
As we
lot.
do that math.
Yeah. If Jeremy was here, he had already spit out
He'd
the
already
number.
known it, yeah. Not that guy. So this person's going to manage.
3,840.
There you go, 3,840 shirts.
That's a lot of shirts.
It's a lot of shirts. So this person's primary gig is going to be, as that stuff comes in, sort it, put it where it goes. The stuff that should be on our shelves goes on our shelves, and the stuff that's for custom jobs will go into the appropriate box or bin for said job. And then you got to log into the Printavo system and check out that all that stuff is there so that the next person in line knows that the job's ready to run. And
So you're increasing or improving your systems overall.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's an ever-moving target, though, too, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just as you get busier, just one person can't do 4 of the tasks.
Right.
So, in the beginning, it was 2 of us doing the entire thing.
12 things.
From quote to shipping it. So, we hired somebody to do the printing everything and packaging and shipping. So they do that part. I was still involved with a lot of the quoting and stuff. Now I'm out of that. But unfortunately for Amy, it's kind of like our warehouse manager. She's still doing her job plus ordering, receiving, sorting. So Monday when I look and I couldn't find her, and then she was behind a wall of boxes, I'm like, okay, it's time. So
The writing's on the wall of boxes.
I said, you got any of those emails of people? Yes. I'm like, she knew exactly where I was going. I was like, all right.
Finally.
Yep. That night I wrote, the job description and SOP and sent it to her. She's like, perfect.
Nice.
So hopefully it's a quick hiring scenario.
I look forward to that phase. We're not there yet, but there are glimpses of those type of things where you realize, that would make a good job description, but there's not enough quite there yet.
Yeah.
So you just shoulder the load.
It has to get to that point of
Overflowing.
Yeah, so kind of my rule of thumb is if it's a temporary getting your butt kicked situation, that's acceptable.
Yeah.
Because as a business grows, you're going to have the ebbs and flows. But if it's a consistent, there is no let up and there's no let up in sight, then let's get some help.
Well, I just told our team this last week, I think, that they're like faders, right? When you're getting busy, right? However that's being fed, whether it's through sales or through just general awareness, doesn't matter. And it trickles down to each individual job role. you kind of got to just press in, like you said. You got to, you got to tough it out, which means it's going to look like you're working for free 2 to 5 hours a week.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can do that for, a concentrated amount of time, let's say 2 to 6 weeks, then you get efficient and we can sell. Therefore, we can fade up your earning. Like we can start paying you more. And it's just back and forth, right? And sometimes that's our job. Like if you're sitting there just like a recording engineer. You're just playing with the faders, trying to make sure that.
Like I remember in my corporate life, one thing that I did as an employee, because a lot of times business owners are just slammed with just trying to get stuff done too.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So sometimes they don't even realize how busy things really are if they are not doing said things.
Right.
So as an employee that's going through that, it's like either, hey, I need help, or hey, I should probably get paid more because I'm bringing in more money. Instead of what I learned, I guess I should say, when I was in corporate, instead of just going, hey, I need more help. Why do you need more help? Well, because we're busy. That's not an answer. But if you can quantify it and go, our KPI is set at 20 widgets and we're doing 36 widgets every single day, and we have been doing that for the last 90 days, and forecasted out we're going to be at 40 widgets. And they're like, gotcha.
Perfect.
Now I understand. We
Yep.
need another person.
Yep.
But if it's just man, we're so busy. Really?
Good. Great.
Good. I mean, that you got to quantify it a little bit.
Yeah, we literally went through the same thing recently. It's like, well, tell me how. Don't tell me. I think you said it to me, and I've heard you say it to others. Don't bring me a problem, bring me a solution.
That's my rule of thumb.
Yeah, and it was similar. I wanted, different staff members that I want this, and they were actually in unity, but saying it separately.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, great, I want that too, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you again that I want what you want. I need you to tell me how. So bring me said solution, so that we can implement that, and then let's see where we are after that. That communication is super helpful.
I think sometimes what they don't realize, you're not just saying that because it's not the business owner being lazy.
No,
what you're teaching them is how to think critically in that business,
right,
and in that role, which helps them grow in that role as that business grows. If I would rather somebody make a decision and be wrong than not make a decision at all.
Right.
All day, every day. Do we want to make the right decision? Sure. But typically how I learn is from failure.
Right.
Like I screw something up, I'm like, oh, won't do that again, And I think your employees are the same way. They're like, oh man, I don't want to, I want to do what's best for the business, and I want to make sure that I'm keeping my job safe and doing the right things. And if they make a mistake, but they made a decision, they'll go, oh, okay, I see where I could have done that different. And the next time, it's going to be the right decision.
Yeah, I think their fear is different than ours, right? Like their fear is letting us down.
Sure.
And our fear is that they won't be decisive. Because if they're not decisive, like you said, they won't learn because they're not going to get it right. They're likely not going to get it right for a little while until they learn said lessons.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're afraid that we're going to overreact, or we're going to disagree, or there's going to be some type of confrontation.
Yeah.
And we would just much rather decisiveness because it means you've applied yourself.
Yeah.
You've dove all the way in. You've made the business problem your problem, and you're looking for a solution. You didn't get it right, but that's okay.
No. And I try to always remain calm. This is older, gentler Roy over here. Not always been that way. But the other day, like somebody jacked up one of the machines. We fixed it really quick. But could have been bad.
Mm-hmm.
And it was something someone did that knew better than to do said thing.
Yeah.
But you could see the stress on their face. Put my arm on them. Hey, we're good. Don't worry about it. Let's jump in here. Let's fix it. Let me show you how to fix it. Okay. Why did this happen? They're like, because I did such. Cool. That's all I need. You realize what you did wrong.
Yeah.
And I walked back into the office and I sat down, and Jeremy and Amy looked at me and they're like, wow, I can't believe how you just handled that. I'm like, what, am I a tyrant or something? Like, no. It was just like, you could see like that person's stress.
Yeah.
And then
They paid the price right there.
I didn't have to do, they punished themselves with
Right.
freaking out. And I'm like, no, man, just.
No. Take a deep breath.
It's
I'm here
not-
for you.
Yeah, I'm here to help.
Yeah.
I'm not here to hurt.
This is a good segue into our topic that we want to get into.
Sorry.
We are. We're going to start a short series here. I don't imagine we'll spend too many podcasts on this, but I want to go into something that I just love talking about this because there's a lot of misconception between passion and talent, and I don't have what it takes. And I think this series is an equalizer. It's not new. I didn't create this. I just think it's really, really awesome. And you guys can skip ahead and you can Google this on your own and kind of go through it. But it's fun. I think it'd be fun for you and I to talk through because we have our own experiences to relate to it. But the series is called 10 Things That Take No Talent at All. So no talent, no passion, no drive, no certification. You don't need a degree. Literally no talent at all. Anybody can possess these things. And we're gonna see how far we get down the list. Clearly, I'm not very optimistic. I think I only wrote 3 on there.
Yeah, you wrote 3.
But I knew Uncle Roy would tell us a story. So I want to leave time for that.
Oh, Lord.
So the first one on the top of the list, and I'm interested to know. I want to hear your story on how you learned this from the get-go. And I'll tell you, I have to think back on mine. But what was the first instance where you realized that being on time was of serious value? Was it beat into you?
No.
Were you disciplined into it? Where did you pick it up? Hit me with the details.
So it was actually being early.
Okay.
It was never being on time. So, God, how many years ago would this have been?
And I'm doing the math on my own over here.
Jesus. 21, 22, 23. So that's probably 23. So, holy cow, the years. That's a lot of years.
23-year-old Roy.
Yeah. 49, 26 years ago. So, 26 years ago, I worked for a dental supply company. It was like my first big boy job. Before that, I had done landscaping and restaurants and retail and all this stuff. This is my first like desk job. Yeah, big boy job. And I lived in Nashville, and I would get to work at 8. Right? I was never late, but I'd get to work at 8. And then, but I'd always notice, like, when I went in, Rick, I'll never forget Rick Zachary, who he was like the branch manager, whatever you'd want to call him, was always already there.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Super nice guy, did some great things for me when I needed some guidance, fatherly guidance, because I didn't have it. And anyway, but I learned by watching. And I was like, man, I'm going to be successful like this guy is.
Yeah.
And he's always here. So I started coming in like a little earlier. During this time, I ended up moving back to Tullahoma.
Okay.
So I'm driving from Tullahoma to Harding Road every day, 5 days a week. And this didn't last long before I moved my ass right back to Nashville. Same apartment complex, oddly enough.
Not into commuting, huh?
Yeah, it didn't last too long. But to beat traffic and stuff,
Yeah.
I would just leave super early. And I remember, like, one morning I left. I don't know why I got up so early, but I had to have left at like 4:45. So I left. I'm like, you know what? I'll stop and get breakfast. So I got off of Bell Road. The old Cracker Barrel was there at the time. I walk in, and there sits Rick Zachary. He's like, Roy, come on over and sit down. So I went over there and sat down. And I'm like, oh, you get an early start? He's like, yeah, I was at the office, and I got hungry, and I come over here for breakfast. That's what I said. I was like, holy cow. So after then, I was like, do you mind if I come in? I'm salary. He don't care. So I would go in at 6:30 and I would just knock stuff out.
Yeah.
And then like when everybody got there and started their day and they're so busy, I'm like,
Losers.
yeah. And then he would like have me do other things.
Yeah.
And that's that lesson I learned. And then from there on out, I'm like, I was at the office today at 6:30, 6:40.
This
At the warehouse?
This
Yeah.
explains why when I get up for the expo and I'm thinking, don't go in, it's too early. Don't go. Hold on.
I'm there at 5:04.
Yeah, and I get there and I'm like, I'm feeling pretty good about myself, 5:45, 6 o'clock. And Roy's like skirting around on a golf cart.
Yeah.
You've been there for an hour already. I'm like, well, how on? I can never beat you.
Takes no talent.
No talent at all.
Yep.
It does take practice.
Does take practice. Got to get up when that alarm goes off.
Yeah. No, I think mine was installed in me. So here's a fun story. 97, 17 years old. Born and raised in Ohio. We lived amongst the cornfields. So my mom, for whatever reason, did not want to pay for driver's ed. Ohio state law for drivers is that driver's ed at 16 was the only way to get your license. And most driver's eds were attached to schools.
Yeah.
I was homeschooled. Yes, I'm not a homeschool kid, right?
Yeah.
I worked full time, so my parents were always like school and work. Those lines were blurry. As I'm looking at Ezra behind the behind the ones and twos, he's like, "This sounds familiar." Well, I wasn't allowed to have a car. I wasn't allowed to drive because my mom didn't want to pay for it because she's a cheapskate. So she drove me everywhere, and I had to pay her gas, and I also had to pay her to do my laundry because I had a job now.
I love it.
Yeah. And she was perpetually early. So we would get there a half hour. Like, I remember her taking me to freaking Pizza Hut where I was working, and I'm there a half hour before my shift starts. I'm like, why am I here so early? And I just meander on in. You can't just go in and hang out. Like, they see you come in, like, all right, Terry,
Clock in.
let's go.
Yep.
Like, dishes are stacking up. And I'm like, so I end up getting, more hours reluctantly. I didn't care about that as a teenager. But that got burned into my brain. So then later when I, got into more of a structured job, I remember being in lawn and landscape management. I would say that was my first big boy job. Worked my way up the chain there, and now I'm heading up, 2 crews of 10 guys, and you get to that spot where nope, I know exactly what it takes to be efficient at this job. Mm-hmm. They're getting there at 7:30. I'm there at quarter till.
Yeah.
I'm filling out my paperwork. I've got gas in the mowers. Spent time at my desk, planning my route, and I'm in the truck and it's running when they pull up.
Your landscape experience is way different than mine.
Yeah, it was. I just wanted to beat the schedule.
Yeah.
And I remember back then I just didn't want to work a Saturday. Never wanted to work a Saturday. I was newly married. I had a kid on the way. I wanted to relax on the weekend, and I did not want to give up my Saturday. So my goal was to be on someone's yard by 8 a.m. and have the most perfect route. Like we nerded out about it. It's like, if we're gonna do this, we're gonna kill it.
Yeah.
And I had some soldiers, and it was like it was fun for a minute.
Yeah. Until
we realized that we are never going to win. Like, grass is always going to grow.
Yeah. So we had is he still alive? Who knows? But anyway. So, yeah, I didn't want to drop no names. Yeah, wait till you get a load of this story. You're gonna love this one. So I go to work at this landscape place. I'm in my teens, maybe 18, 19. Could be 20, probably 18, 19. Show up. They're like, I do the interview, whatever. Guy hires me. Seemed hiring a giraffe's ass. When I'm going through the interview, I'm like, wow, it's really weird, whatever. So, sorry.
You do this to me all the time with these southern sayings. I just go off the deep end. I'm over here cracking up.
So
just keeps moving on.
Yeah, I know. So he's like, yeah, you're starting on Monday. So I get there. There's 3 people that work for this whole company, and then the owner who knows what he does all day. Jeff was like running the show, and then I can't remember the other dude's name, and then me. And then like the other dude would just like randomly disappear for 2 months, and then he'd show back up, and it'd be me and Jeff. But we get there at 8. We just kind of BS around the office till 9 or the shop. Load all the stuff. Would tear out. We did all, it was all commercial, but it was like small commercial. There was no big jobs, which I'm like, how do they even like make any money? Like, but the owner's wife was a lawyer. So I think it was like, we mowed her law office, we mowed their house, and then we had some other stuff. But anyway, so we'd get to the first job at like, let's say 8:45, 9 o'clock. We'd do the first job. It takes 30 minutes. And he'll want to go get a beer. It's 9 a.m. I'm like, wow, that seems early, to me.
Starkly different experiences.
Yeah. And that was every single day.
That's
then,
crazy.
so he'd go get a beer or 2 beers, and he'd get the big ones.
Oh, yeah.
And then we'd go to the next job. We'd knock the next job off. By the time that job is done, the liquor stores are open. So he wants to go get his little pints of vodka and
goodness.
and then we would knock off about 3, wash the equipment, and head on home.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's starkly different experiences.
Yeah. So wild. I'm like, do people live like this? Yep, they do.
Yeah. I mean,
for a while.
I guess that's one way to do it in a sense where you're you figured out a way to make a living and have a little fun. I guess there's some boundaries.
That also takes no talent.
It takes no talent to be a drunk. No. All right. Well, the next one is work ethic, and I'm guessing you didn't learn work ethic in that scenario.
0.
But you do have it. Like you run a pretty tight ship. Up until I met you, I didn't know anybody who outworked me. And I can't, I can't be earlier than you. And this is a list of things I need to do better, apparently. So thus far.
Terry, this is an intervention.
Yeah. Did I write my own intervention?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure this was my idea. What did I do? I haven't met anybody who works harder than me until I met you.
Mm-hmm.
And where did you get your work ethic?
My mother.
Yeah.
Didn't realize I got it from my mother, but so like my dad left. Well, my mom dropped out of high school at like 9th grade, which sounds crazy now, but
That was normal. My parents did the same thing.
50 years ago or 55 years ago, whenever it was, that was the thing.
Right.
Grew up picking cotton, like literally that's what she did.
Yeah.
Lived on a farm in Alabama, and they picked cotton and, whatever. Dropped out of high school. She ended up marrying my dad, worked in a factory, never had a driver's license.
No way.
Wild story to get to the work ethic part. I mean, she always worked hard, even, but my memory's like not great about that part because he was like 6 years old when he left. But she didn't have a driver's license, so he checks my sister out of school, who was 16, takes her to the driver's ed and says, by the way, you got to pass your test because I'm leaving your mom tomorrow.
What?
Yeah, it was wild. Anyway.
Wow.
Which explains a lot of what's wrong with my sister. But, so my mom had to get a driver's license, learn to drive. Bless her heart, she still can't drive a lick. But she tries really hard. So, no education. She worked in a factory, so not making much money.
Sure.
What's it called? Was it production? Whatever. Like you make a certain amount of money until you hit a certain number, and then you get paid at a higher rate. I can't remember what it was called. Huh? No. It was like production. God, I can't remember what it was called.
Yeah, I don't know.
But anyway, so she back then, I remember it was like 6 something an hour. And then if she hit production, she got 8 or something. So,
Prevailing wage, maybe?
I don't remember.
No,
what
that's
it was
usually
called.
government work.
But anyway, it was like an apparel company, and they did like army contracts and stuff. But anyway,
Okay.
so she works there, hard ass job, leaves there, and would go work at a restaurant every night of the week.
Wow.
Yeah. So how did this work? I don't even remember who would pick me up. My half sister. I think my half sister would pick me up. I'd get dropped off. My half sister would pick me up, take me to the factory, dropped me off when my mom came out at 3:30. No, she picked me up from school because this is when I was in elementary school. God, I remember all this stuff. Pick me up, take me to my mom. I would ride with her to the restaurant and then hang out at the restaurant till 9:30 whenever they closed. Yeah, and then go home. I go to sleep, and then my day starts again at 6:30 when my mom's got to kick it, so she would drop me off to school at 6:30. So I'm at elementary school. It's me and the custodian. That was it. Was there? Yeah, it was anyway.
What a life.
Yeah. So, but watching all that, it didn't register.
Right. Well, you thought that's normal, right? Like
I just
on
thought,
some level.
Yeah, I don't know why. None of that registered. And then as I got older and on my own, and it really hit like when I moved to Nashville for the first time, got my own first apartment and all this stuff, and I had 2 jobs. And I was like, oh, okay, this is why she worked so hard. And then it just got to the point where I'm like, man, if I ever have a family, I never want to go through that or put them through that. And I don't want to ever go through that again. So I'm not smart. I'm not brilliant. There's a lot of things I'm not.
Right.
But I can work my ass off because it takes no talent.
Right.
Show up and do what's got to be done. And, that's how we built up Voodoo was we just get there early, we stay late.
Yeah.
That was very simple philosophy.
Well, I feel like in a lot of ways, it makes it look like the work you're doing now is nowhere near as difficult as what you witnessed.
Oh, yeah, no.
Right? Like, I think that it shapes us as leaders to look back and be like, why are you complaining? Like, this is nothing. Let me tell you what,
Yeah.
Let me tell you what I've seen be endured, right? Like, I could tell a similar story. My work ethic comes from watching my dad. And you could say mom had a hand in it. But he would come home from a factory job. Like I say, we lived in rural Ohio, not a lot of money, 4 kids, right? My mom buying a Ford Escort off of a girl who had totaled it.
What?
For $75. Spray painted it black and taped the window.
Love it.
Like hit a pole. Like, I don't know. I think the thing went down I could smell exhaust on the way to school.
Nice.
Just CO2. I'm sure this explains a lot about me, but elevator doesn't go all the way to the top. Like we were making it happen on a budget, and my dad would come home from a long day at the factory. We usually lived 35 minutes from wherever he was working, and it was off to a side job.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, yeah, take your son with you. She would always say, take your son with you. And I'm like, why do I get thrown into this? Like, and I'm helping him hold up drywall. Or I remember one instance, he had a nylon rope around my waist, and he lowered me down from the peak of the roof of a barn to drill screws in for a metal roof we were putting on a barn. Didn't think anything of it. Just did it.
Safe.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what would have happened if I would have fallen.
Oh, shit. Nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here. I don't remember us doing another roofing job after that. So I think to him, he was like, this is probably too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did a lot. He and I did a lot of that stuff together. And it was just one job to the next. I mean, he did that up until I hit my teens.
Your dad is such a hard worker still.
I mean, yeah, he still is. Yeah. And I don't know. I think he does it now just to feel connected, feel like himself.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
probably doesn't know any different either.
No, I know he likes to. I mean, I know that guy loves to watch some Gold Rush. Like, he sit down and watch some Discovery Channel.
Me too.
Yeah.
Why? They never find anything.
Oddly addicting. But he loves to watch it. So they do never find anything. They're not a sponsor either. Discovery, holler at us.
Yeah, Discovery.
So I learned it from him, and then I think I really owned it in that same landscaping job where there was a part in that, there's a part of my late teens where I thought I was going to be a rock star, playing in rock bands.
We all thought that.
Yeah, playing in rock bands with my buddies. Couple of one of the bands in our group. There were five bands from this small town, and we would show up to a venue.
And no venue.
No, we'd show up to a venue,
Yeah.
and there'd be no people. So we were playing for ourselves.
Yeah.
And we got pretty good, and the one group actually got a record deal, and And we thought, well, they got one. Certainly ours
Yeah.
is coming.
Yeah.
I don't know why it felt achievable, but I remember putting that to bed in that landscaping job like a year and a half in, thinking, all right, I'm grown. I got a wife. Like, let's put that dream aside for a
Yeah.
second and let's just see how much of myself I can dump into this and see what happens. And that's when, I fully just dove in, took ownership. And I remember my boss coming to me at the end of that year saying, "You killed it." I was like, "Well, what do you mean?"
That's good.
We did about $1 million in grass and landscaping.
That's
this
a
year.
lot of grass clippings.
I was like, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah." We also did snow removal and they wired custom
Yeah.
homes, but there's only a team of about 20. And then that's seasonal, like in the off season,
Yeah.
there's like 7 of us.
Yeah.
When he said that, I was like, "Oh, X equals Y."
Mm-hmm.
Huh. And I don't know why it hit me at that point, but so I really learned that I can, you're going to get out of it what you put into it,
Sure.
and so whatever that work ethic looks like. But yeah, I do have my dad to thank for that, as he still helps us out at the expo. And
I love it.
I talked to him on Sunday and he's like, "Hey, can you give me Roy's number?" He's like, "I want to reach out to Roy." I was like, "You should." I think
Yeah.
he'd be happy to hear from you. So
I would.
we were talking. And he's like, "I just want to tell you guys, I'm just so proud of you."
Aw.
Like, he's just he's our biggest fan.
He
So,
is.
he's like, "I really, really enjoy coming to the expo." He's like, "I don't feel like I did that much this year." I was like, "Well, it's because we got you a golf cart."
Heck, he kept tons of people from going in the wrong doors.
Yeah, he's back and forth.
He did a great job.
He also had to cut another padlock off of someone's trailer who forgot their keys again.
Why do people do
I
that?
don't know, but it's hilarious. It's become a thing.
Well,
Well,
he's charging for that.
yeah, he should be charging for that. I'm glad he brings his tools up.
Yeah.
Shout out to Big T. Hi, Dad. We're going to take a short break, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about a couple more. We'll be right back after a word from these sponsors. And we're back.
I was like, are we on or what are
I
we
don't
doing?
know. He did give me a 3, 2, 1. I think he likes
He's
messing with
laughing.
me.
I don't know what's going on.
We're
over
going to
there.
give him a microphone so we can make fun of him and he can actually respond.
Yes.
Ezra, we're thankful for you. Just stop
Yes.
yawning back there, would you? All right, so 2 more, and we'll land this plane. The next one is a positive attitude. So I'm interested where your story goes on this one, and this one to me is almost being on time. I got to go way back on the positive attitude one, and I can't remember where I've even learned it, but I'll let you go first.
I don't know where I learned it. But, I guess how I look at that is whatever the situation is, it is what it is, right? If it's a bad situation, a good situation, whatever, it's all perspective, right? You can choose to have a bad day. You can choose to have a good day.
Yeah.
You can choose to be negative. You can choose to be positive. That's a big mental thing, and some people don't get it, and some people do get it.
Yeah.
Some people you can. I was going to use my line that I told you.
Oh, you got to.
I was trying to get it out.
You almost worked it in.
Yeah, almost worked it in.
Teach some people
You can teach some people how to fish, and then some people just keep going to Captain D's. That's it. No, I mean, I've been really lucky. Like, I've got a staff that they'll come in and there's just work everywhere.
Yeah.
And it would be real easy to be negative about it. But they're positive, like, heck no, man. This keeps us in a paycheck.
Right.
I'm like, you get it. You know, where we did have an employee who was super negative, and everything was just crap.
Right.
And what I noticed about that person after we freed them up to go do other things, that attitude that she had when she was there bled over into her life. It wasn't us. We weren't the problem.
Sure.
Like, she had all kinds of drama going on in her life. And I hate that for her. I liked her as a person. But, you know, sometimes you just can't fix that.
Right.
You know, you try to talk to people and try to help, you know, talk them into being positive for whatever reason. They're wired that way.
Yeah.
And that stuff can consume everything. It's not just a work thing.
Yeah, we've noticed that. I mean, we've seen that and play out with, you know, both vendors for the expo. And I've seen it play out in the industry, you know, with certain trainers. Some of that, the opposition to positivity is, I think, the victim mentality. On some
There's
level.
a lot of that. Yeah.
On some level, like, it's happening to me, not for me. And I don't remember when I heard that. Someone said, that's not an original Terry quote, but when I heard that from somebody, I'm like, epiphany, right? And for us, like us, you know, us 4 kids, were raised in church, right? Like, here's a crazy story. My mom volunteered all of us to clean the church. Voluntold us.
Yes.
And their church was in an old high school, so 3 stories. Gymnasium is where the church, where, you know, 350 chairs.
Free throws with communion or something.
That'd have been awesome. Get these chairs out of here. So church played a role in the positive attitude idea, right? Like, you have something to be grateful for, be grateful, you know, choose joy. Joy's, you know, biblically commanded. Like, we learned all those biblical principles growing up, and I don't know that I really noticed that there was an opposition to that until, I guess, I hit my teenage years when we're all kinds of hormonal.
Sure.
And, you know, the antithesis of grunge rock was out there. My mom's such a negative thing. I was like, I didn't realize there was a positive and a negative.
Yeah.
The church stuff was kind of crazy, because it does kind of go back to the work ethic to bounce off of that again. But so we were there 6 days a week, like 6 days. Actually, it might have been 7. It might have been 7 days
To clean it?
Well, we went. So my mom volunteered us to clean it, because they also had a Christian school.
Oh, okay.
So for middle school and later elementary, I think it was like 4th through 8th, we would show up on Saturday. I had the first floor. So I cleaned the first floor. 2 bathrooms. I set up the foyer for church, and then I set up 350 chairs. I had to sweep the floor first, the gymnasium floor. But for me, the payoff was I got to go up. So I'd put my favorite CD on the sound system, and then I would go to the drums, and they were electronic, and I would just smack the snot. So I taught myself how to play drums.
Yeah.
But that's how she afforded us to go to private school.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's cool.
And then there was Wednesday night church, and then there was Sunday night church.
Yeah.
So we were there literally 7 days a week. But I say all that to say that having that base of, like, you know, Sunday school, you know, built into you, and understanding that the power of positive thinking, the power of positivity, and how being grateful for something. And then when it starts to intersect with your work, you realize you can choose to be calm in this moment. You can choose joy, or you can choose to let something take your peace and not take your peace. I will still say I lose that battle. I don't know, probably 65% of the time. It's hard to remain positive.
Yeah, as an entrepreneur it is, but the situation is the situation regardless.
Right.
April for us was like, financially could not have been much worse. You know, I remember I didn't get paid, and
I remember this. Yeah.
yeah. But when I'm going through all that, I'm like, cool. What lesson am I learning here?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what are the things I can control? What are the things I can't control? I can't control those things over here. Cool. I can focus on sales. Let me just dig in.
Yeah.
And some of those things are just planting seeds that now we're reaping, but it is what it is.
Right.
If you allow those things to drive you down the wrong road, then you're an early grave, man,
Yeah.
because stress is real. I will lay down my head with a negative bank account, and I'll lay down my head with $100K in my bank account and sleep exactly the same. I can't do anything about it right this very second.
Right this very second. Yeah.
You know? And I think part of that is, you know, a lot of the things we go through is growing up and,
Right.
and as kids and learning the work ethic and going, okay, what can I control? What can't I control? And it's easier said than done. It's a muscle that has to be trained. It's not like I woke up one morning and went, I'm going to be positive from here on out. It's not the case.
Right.
And that's also not my predisposition. My predisposition growing up was just everything sucks, very negative, this, that, and the other. I also realized, you know, probably in my early 30s, it wasn't serving me at all.
Right.
And
Well, I think there's
something has to change.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said about that too, in the sense like we're not talking about positive as in jolly, like
Yeah, no.
annoyingly positive.
Yeah, no, it's not
We've all
that.
met those guys. What we're talking about for a good example, the first 6 months of this year were for different reasons and up and down for the both of us, a lot going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
I remember calling you and I was just feeling pretty low, feeling pretty dark, just trying to solve a problem. And you're like, well, you know what you have to do. We threshed it out, right? We figured out what the actual issue was. This actually might have been the week before the expo. And you said, you know what's going to happen tomorrow? And I said, what? He's like, well, you're going to wake up likely. I'm like, oh, yeah,
Yep.
probably true.
Yeah.
It's like, that's the type of positivity we're talking about here.
Yeah.
It's not like you don't need to look in the mirror and recite 10 things that you love about yourself necessarily.
No.
But
Positive affirmations.
Positive
with
affirmations.
Jack Handy.
yeah. Not that does. I don't know if that works or not. I've never tried it. But simplistically, you're likely going to be fine.
Yeah.
Right? Don't let it turn into something that it's not. And I appreciate you grounding me on a lot of levels. Sometimes I just feel completely unmotivated, and I call Roy, and you say something like, you can teach a man to fish, or he's still going to go to Captain D's. And I laugh my butt off, and suddenly I'm motivated again. And I'm like, I just needed to laugh, apparently.
Sometimes I don't even know how those things come out of my mouth.
That needs to be a
I don't
T-shirt.
even know where it came from.
Yeah, so positive, the power of positive attitude is what you make of it, and it's not oftentimes what you read on social media. So we've got one more before we land this plane, and that one is being prepared. So what is when the rubber meets the road with Roy Mangrum, what is being prepared? I know what your answer is going to say. I'm not going to do it because I love it when you say it, but I've learned a ton from your preparedness. So I want you to tell everybody.
Now I don't even know what to say.
Well, I'll tell you what I think you're going to say.
All right, you tell me what did you think I'm going to say?
Be prepared for the problem with a solution before the problem is ever a problem.
That's true. That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
Think ahead,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Think 3 steps ahead, which again, these are muscles you have to train to get there. But a lot of times, an experience is a great teacher. You can see a lot of problems, potential problems. And I do this with discussions as well. If I've got a uncomfortable discussion I have to have with someone, I will have that discussion in my head. Like, if I say this could be a response. How do I respond to that? Because I don't want to shortchange that discussion by not being prepared.
Right.
And I also want to diffuse a discussion that could be volatile or upsetting or angry or whatever. But preparedness, again, doesn't take anything other than some time and some thought.
It's highly personal too.
Yeah.
Right? Like
everybody has different levels of preparedness.
Yeah,
sure.
and again, not to oversimplify it, but that's a pretty simple, easy way to think.
Yeah.
Right? It's simple enough that everybody can grasp it, and it's I feel like it holds you accountable enough to kind of think about what would I do, right? Like you're just reconciling something for the sake of it. Like you're getting introspective and you're reconciling a problem before it ever becomes a problem.
So simple example, right? Some simple examples. We use the expo, right?
Yeah.
We got 120,000 square feet, and you got all these vendors coming in. Where's my booth? Okay, well, how can we solve that problem before it's a problem?
Yeah.
Right? Let's print maps.
Right.
Let's put the vendor's name on said table. Let's give them the booth number before they get there.
Yeah.
So when they walk in, vendor X, you're in booth 132 or whatever the numbers were. Here on the map is where your booth is. Very simple.
Right.
So now that's no longer a challenge. And you want to get as many things like that off your plate because there could be something you couldn't prepare for, like concessions being an asshole. So it frees up your time to deal with
to actually respond to things that
to do with those, to deal with that stuff.
It's the surprise problems.
Yeah, it's the surprise problems. But, and there's, like you were saying, there's different levels of preparedness. Like I'm not super, super organized. Like my desk is very cluttered, but I know where everything is, which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like I don't put stuff in certain folders and stuff like that. But like planning an event, I know these steps have to happen.
Right.
So that's how I.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I got a personal example, then I've got a corporate one. Personal example for me, preparedness is I know I'm going to at some point obsess about something I have to do tomorrow, right? When I go home tonight from this, from this office, I'm going to take my computer out, I'm going to plug it in, and I'm going to pull my notepad out with my pen, and I'm going to sit it by my computer. And I know at some point I'm going to take a shower, and I'm going to be, oh yeah, I forgot to do X. Why did I forget? It's not on my list. Get out of the shower, go downstairs.
Because you're a big list guy.
I'm a list guy. And I didn't used to be that way.
Yeah.
Until we got, you and I got involved in the magazine, and I was like, I'm too much of a forward thinker to think about rubber meeting the road tomorrow. And I could sit and dream of what I want this thing to look like, but there's got to be practical application every day. And that list has become very, very powerful for me and getting ideas out of my brain so that I can do something like I enjoy, like sit and watch TV, or like Ezra and I last night, and I beat him in this game, and it was great. Threw a football at a net we have this football net at home with 5 different slots on it. I'm using this to.
So who really won? Let's be honest.
It was me.
I cheated. So now we know.
Did not cheat. But we had time to play and like hang out as a family because I have this thing I can go to when an idea pops up or I forget to do something. And then corporately for us, Mondays are that. So Mondays we have our staff meeting. It's always at 1:30. You can set your watch by it. Staff prepares, the management staff will get on a separate Zoom call before the corporate Zoom call, have a quick rundown of what we want to accomplish this week. So that when we hop on that call, that it's, there's room to expand.
Sounds a lot like EOS.
Oh yes, it's a little traction model. Yeah, I can't recommend that book enough. If you haven't read the book Traction, you want to talk about structure for your business.
I'm on my second time going through it now.
Are you?
Yeah, I bought copies for Jeremy and Amy last week.
I love it.
I was like, read this. Is this homework? Yes.
It's a game changer. Yeah, like it's just having time built into the schedule to workshop and reconcile what issues may arise. They're going to be there, so don't avoid having the time to talk about them. And then that, like you said, for your staff, that's work, right? That's what That's what powers the motor that drives drives the engine of your business forward. Don't ignore it, which I think we so often do. It's like I just want to escape my I want to escape my anxiety or my fear or my worry. No, like reconcile it, get the emotions a little bit out of the way, and then what is actually left that you need to do something with.
Mm-hmm.
Can you write it down? Can you take it to a person and reconcile the end part there? Like, what does it look like to just finish it?
Yeah, but you have to learn that.
Yeah.
Or practice, rather. Not learn, but practice.
Yeah, the practice of it is, again, I think we forget that. I think a lot of times we forget that everybody has to learn it.
Mm-hmm.
And we think that we're doing all this stuff by ourselves.
Yeah, no.
You're not.
No.
Chances are the guy next to you is going through the same thing.
Going through the same stuff.
Yeah.
Same exact thing.
Yeah. But yeah, that's we're halfway through the list. So
that is 4 things, which would be
4 things out of 10.
Yeah.
We're a little under halfway.
There you go.
55%. Math. Ezra, what's that math?
45%.
4
out of 10.
4 out of 10.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh my gosh.
How do we not know that? As entrepreneurs.
Vacation. Vacation's coming.
Dude, my
Very
vacation
exciting.
brain is it's so bad.
It's already here. It's already our brains are already melting. Yeah, I think that was good. Is there anything you want to add to the list? Any other advice, Roy, on any of those topics?
Not today. That would be next episode.
That'd be next episode. That's true. Do we do one episode for the 5th one, and then we go to the other 5? We'll talk about that in post.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I think it's a good spot to stop. Guys, if you enjoyed this podcast at all, we always ask that you make sure that you share it with a friend. And let us know what if the content's hitting. We'd love to hear your comments, positive or negative. We don't care.
Don't comment on our math.
Yes, no, that's not fair. Like and subscribe on behalf of everybody here at NFM and Spread the Positive and our sponsors, Level Wellness. We really appreciate y'all, Defiance Fuel and Black Rifle. Guys, we will catch you on the next one.